Hi, everybody. I think we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Ricky Herbst. I'm the Cinema Program Director here in the state-of-the-art Browning Cinema in the lovely DeBartolo Performing Arts Center on the Bucolic campus, University of Notre Dame in St. Joe County, Indiana. Thank you for joining us here. We have a nice crowd today. Let's take 30 seconds. Go ahead and shake a hand with someone next to you. Wave to someone you don't know. Go ahead and make a friend. We know each other. Old friends. Many handshakes. Okay, now that we're all officially family, we can stand up after the movie and say, I loved it, I hated it, we can talk about it, and do it very civilly. One of the wonderful partnerships we have here at the Browning Cinema is with the Nanovic Institute, who have been a strong and long backer of films that are really difficult to see, not only in South Bend, but in Chicago and generally anywhere. And it's wonderful that they're able to bring them here. And so it's my honor to introduce the person who will do the introducing, and that's our old friend, Anthony Monta. Can we give him a warm applause?
Hi, everyone. Very briefly, this is the 15th year of the Nanovic Institute European Film Series, and we're very excited about it. I'm sorry, you can't hear? This is, maybe, Ricky, do you study opera or something? You just project so well. 15th year. That's a lot of films. It's been really wonderful. This is the last feature film in our spring film series. We are in the midst of planning the fall, so we're excited about that as well. So please visit our website. I'm sure that you can find the website somewhere on the screen. Tonight, to introduce the film, is a real expert in French film. His name is Olivier Morel. He's an assistant professor of film, television, and theater here at Notre Dame, a Nanovic Institute faculty fellow himself, and has a joint appointment in Romance languages and literature. So, and he makes films, and he does many other things related to the arts in France and at Notre Dame. So please give a very warm welcome to a dear friend and a great partner, Olivier Morel.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay? Yes. It's great to be introduced by the introducer of the introducer, because I'm going to introduce this film by Michel Gondry, Microbe and Gasoline, Microbe et Gasoil, released in France in 2016, and released in the US in 2016. Released in France in 2016 and released in the US in 2017. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to the work of this distinguished author and director, Michel Gondry, tonight. Gondry, born in 1963, who is the famous author of a largely unknown and unique artistic invention that could become a whole new genre. I believe it has a great potential, and I quote, this is the title of Gondry's masterpiece, the self-edited, and I quote, Michel's Notes from the Throne, a graphic novel illustrated on real toilet paper, unquote. This is what Gondry's personal bibliography indicates, and it was published in 2009. This work of art on toilet paper by Michel Gondry that I was unfortunately unable to acquire. It's sold out. It was oversold. It's a great concept, since we all know how graphic novels also described as sequential art by the famous author Will Eisner, author of famous, very highly respected comic books. This form was described by Will Eisner as a form of proto-cinema that, in Gondry's case, seems to have been originally designed for the restrooms. At a time when a recent study shows that 70% of Americans admit using their iPhones while in the bathroom. iPhones, bathrooms, is it the future of cinema? Before we flush, think about the fact that now there are mini-series designed for iPhones. And I don't know what the concept is, but it might be that in the back of the mind of the creators of these mini-series, they think about how we watch films. So I'm even more grateful that you came to the movie theater this evening. And so, I mean, in this unexpected conjunction of Gondry's archaic form of toilet paper / cinema, and of the iPhone creating a new form of restroom movie consumption, right? I can imagine that this genre of art on toilet paper will soon have its Academy Awards or Golden Globes, I mean the Golden Rolls, and I would propose to name these awards the Gondrys. Michel Gondry is a true precursor. This is my title for the introduction, Michel Gondry, a true precursor. This, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of which side you enter when you go to the restrooms, speaks volumes about who Michel Gondry is, someone who probably drew his first cartoons on the bathroom walls of his boring high school in the boring, conservative, and highly conformist royal city of Versailles in France, a city known as the city of the throne of the king, of course, who, by the way, liked to do it in public. Every French child knows that, of course. This is, if you believe me, one of the first culture shocks I had when I arrived in the US. Where are the cartoons? I asked my friends and family. And they were looking at me, where are the cartoons? What? The ones I'm used to see and to read in the public restrooms in France, of course. Do not laugh too hard when I'm talking about the cartoons and the drawings in the bathrooms in France, because we should never forget that this ugly, immature teenager cartoon culture that is so dear, so precious to Michel Gondry, is also the one that was targeted by the terrorists when the cartoonists of the small, nasty, irrespectable teenager kind of satirical magazine known as Charlie Hebdo was attacked in 2015. But back to Gondry. Okay, Gondry, the satirical inventor of the toilet paper graphic novel format. Gondry is a true Renaissance man. Before becoming a renowned film director who won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay as one of the writers of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in 2004, Gondry, like his brother who played in the famous band Ludwig von 88, Michel Gondry, was the drummer of an underground alternative rock music band named Oui Oui that had its time of glory. As a genius, as a brilliant Renaissance man, Gondry started to make music videos for his band, all of that at a time when he was a student in the vocational school of tapisserie, tapestry, at the Lycée de Sèvres in France. This is probably when he was playing the music with his friends. This is probably the turning point in his career when his connections with pop singers and musicians and his cinematic talent converged in giving him the occasion to direct many remarkable, successful, and highly recognizable music videos for Björk, for Kylie Minogue, for the Rolling Stones, Beck, Daft Punk, Sheryl Crow, Radiohead, Massive Attack. I'm sure you've seen all those video clips once in your lifetime when you watch TV. Suddenly, the eccentric underground musician and cinematic explorer Michel Gondry is in very high demand, and all of his music videos reveal the existence of a true Gondry style. Parallel to this career, Gondry, whose success in the industry is also remarkable for his commercials, develops feature films like Human Nature in 2001, and I already mentioned Eternal Sunshine in 2004, but he's also the author, and I'm sure many of you might have seen this film, is the author of a cult film about cult films, the hilarious, legendary Be Kind, Rewind in 2008. Why are you laughing? Be Kind, Rewind. That's a hilarious film, starring the unforgettable Jack Black and Danny Glover in a declining VHS videotapes store after one of them accidentally creates a magnetic field that erases the old VHS videotapes of the store that prompts them to recreate and remake all the films that are in the store's inventory, ranging from Ghostbusters to RoboCop, in order to save their small business. It's a whole world. With that, I have described most of the defining features of Gondry's inventive, creative, and innovative cinema, things that we are going to also watch in the film that we will see in a few minutes. He's not just a great artist, but also someone who tries on new techniques, like his use of morphing that he experimented in many of his music videos and commercials, as well as a recent feature film on Boris Vian, which is an adaptation of L'écume des jours by Boris Vian, which should remind us of the fact that Gondry himself comes from a line of ancestors who were tech addicts, inventors, and creators. And you will understand in a few minutes when you see the film why these comments are relevant for Microbe and Gasoline. Gondry is the grandson of an electrical engineer and radio technician who is the inventor of the clavioline, an instrument related to the organ, which used harmonium reeds and is known as the precursor of the synthesizer that he developed, that Gondry's grandfather developed in the early 30s in the French city of Versailles. Everybody knows Versailles, right? But you might not know that thanks to Michel Gondry's grandfather, it is also the birthplace of electronic music. Gondry's grandfather's clavioline was a considerable commercial success that was adopted by many musicians and bands, including the Beatles. Set in the city of Versailles, Microbe and Gasoline, Gondry's eighth feature, is his most personal one, as it is highly biographical. The famous French actress Audrey Tautou, whose feature in the film, is the one who strongly encouraged Gondry to do a biographical, a very personal film. In the film, the small for his age Daniel, derisively referred to as Microbe by his classmate, and a new student, Theo, who picks up the nickname Gasoline for his petrol-smelling clothes, are both eccentric and creative outsiders who join forces because everyone else around them, and especially the destructive, boring school system, the French school system can be extremely boring. So both are unable to identify their talents, to see their talents being identified by the schools. We all have met a microbe and Gasoline in our lives. Like Gondry's grandfather, like Gondry himself, and I want to dedicate this film to the microbes and gasolines that I have met here at Notre Dame also, because there are a few of them here that you will recognize. We all carry a microbe and gasoline with us, which is also another name for the strange utopia of childhood known as adolescence for some of us. And I'm also saying this because the reason why in many ways creativity, originality, and eccentricity are not distinguishable also because it's related to how humanity never knows borders, whether borders are institutional, cultural, or political. And I'm saying that because France is going to vote in just a few days. It is not an accident that Michel Gondry, like Julie Delpy, and so many other equally suspicious C- students and great filmmakers of this time and of the past, think about Chaplin, about Billy Wilder, it's endless. They have in common to be probably Gondry and Delpy and a few others. They have in common to be probably the most American of the French filmmakers, in this sense that it does not matter. If you watch a film like Be Kind, Rewind, you would never know that the filmmaker is French. And this is the case in many of Julie Delpy's films, for example. So they resist categorization, and this is cinema at its best when it makes national boundaries look ridiculous. If we are courageous enough to not watch films on iPhones, in the restrooms, which is, I guess, a possible interpretation of why Microbe in this film buries his iPhone with his feces in the odorless film that we are going to watch. Just enjoy. Thank you.